This is Hot Mike. This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Second hour of Hot Mike, ready to rock and roll on this Thursday morning. Glad you're joining us. Left Turn Thursdays coming up in about a half hour. New segment we're debuting this morning. We're hopeful to have Eric Galko join us from the Shrine game here in just a moment. The game is set. The 100th edition this year will be played January the 30th, 2025 at AT&T Stadium, the home of the Cowboys. They've moved this game. Our good friend Kyle Emanuel played in it when it was in St. Petersburg way back in the winter, January of 2015, right after he wrapped up his illustrious college career. Was there for a bit. They've moved it around. It was in Las Vegas. It was in Frisco, actually, one year. They've moved this all over the place, and now they'll be heading to Dallas this year. Earlier this week, they announced their watch list of players that they were keeping an eye on for this upcoming year. And no surprise, North Dakota State was littered with it. Here are the guys that the Bison had on their watch list, which is numerous here. This is impressive. Cam Miller, no surprise there, quarterback. Joe Stuffle at tight end. Bison have had success at that position at the next level. Eli Mostart, Dylan Hendricks, who are both first-team Missouri Valley preseason selections there. Joined by Gray Zabel, who is the top NFL prospect on this roster for 2024. There's no doubt about it. Our guy Jim Nagy, who we've had on the show numerous times, he featured him last week in his Small School Saturday Twitter post that he does each week throughout the summer. And Zabel was top of the list there, considering NDSU's track record at that game. I would think, depending on how Gray's season goes, that he may not be at this game. He may be at the Senior Bowl to end the Bison drought at 1 year. Hunter Brosio is on there as well. Brosio is an intriguing candidate because he plays two different spots. He's a long snapper and he's a fullback. The athleticism he has could prove to be quite useful at the next level. And obviously the other one is Cole Wisniewski, who if you put next to Zabel as the other top potential NFL draft prospect on the roster for the Bison in 2024. So 7 in total. NDSU's had a great track record in this game. Cordell Volson went here a couple years ago. Remember, we visited with Cordell before the game that was being played in Las Vegas. Spencer Wagee's gone there. They've had some numerous guys play in this particular game and had, well, the success you're hoping for to get attention and get on to the next level. So now to be fair on this, there are 1,000 guys, and hopefully Eric can tell us about this. You're supposed to join us at 10. I'm hopeful that'll still work. That they are targeting. Clearly not all these guys are going to go to the game. This is their synopsis. Our aim is for this Shrine Bowl 1000 to serve as a look into our scouting process, as well as begin to preview college players who are currently All-Star Game eligible for the 2024 East-West Shrine Bowl and 2024 NFL Draft Class. Putting together this list was extremely challenging for our team as we scouted players from all 4 levels of football and consulted with NFL and college personnel to ensure the selection of the best 1,000 players for the NFL level. The East-West Shrine Bowl is a best-in-class all-star event that will take place at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas on January 30th, 2025. Our players will be coached by NFL coaches in an NFL facility and will have access to NFL-level resources, facilities, player-friendly schedules, and opportunities at the highest level. So that's, bar none, that's pretty good. They've definitely invested in this game. I think a few years ago when you looked at this as a football fan or as an observer or someone reporting on the game, you always knew, like, the Senior Bowl was number one. The Senior Bowl had a clear advantage because they would typically get the very best players that would want to get their name out there. They would go to that particular game. And then Easton Stick went to this game as well. And I still give Jim Nagy a hard time about that. I'm like, how could Easton Stick not go to the Senior Bowl? Regardless, Easton went to the Shrine game, played in it, played okay, Yeah, but got to work, and he's told us this before, of working in front of the NFL scouts for the first time, and that opened the door, I think, for more to get a look at him, and obviously end up being drafted where he did by the Chargers. That the game then didn't have necessarily maybe the resources or attention that it has now, and it's certainly blown up over the last few years. And we got our guy joining us now who can give us the whole detail on the list. It's our pleasure to welcome on Eric Galko from the Shrine Bowl, Director of Football Ops. Boy, that's an impressive title. And to give us the lowdown on how this list came together. It's great to see you. We were trying to connect in Las Vegas, and schedules just didn't work. But just give us the lowdown. How long have you guys been working on this kind of list?
Yeah, I mean, the overall list, we track players from their freshman year of college through their final year in college too. So in some ways, let's be on for 4 years, but really our staff really ramps up in December or January from this past draft cycle. And we kind of shift our focus as a scouting staff towards getting ready for this watch list. And really for us, the goal of this watch list is to narrow down the list of players we can possibly look at to know who to focus on a team by team basis. So when our scouts are watching North Dakota State, we want to watch these 7, 8 guys and see if anyone else pops, but give us a kind of a narrower focus on who to focus on. And then from a national perspective, allowing us to highlight a lot of great players around the country is, I think, a super important part of this list as well, too, and make sure NFL draft fans around the country, but also NFL clubs and colleges know who the NFL prospects may be on each team.
I think it's impressive that you don't have just the Power Five. How big a thing was that for your group that you're going to highlight Division II, Division III, FCS guys?
Yeah, it's honestly, it sounds cheesy to say, but we're looking at the best players in the country. And Ole Miss may have 20, 21 players. Florida State has 18 players. But, every year the Shrine Bowl, we've had guys like Cordell Volson from North Dakota State who ended up going 3rd, 4th round, right? And he's one of the best offensive linemen in that draft class still. So for us, it's not about having a quota of certain small school players, whatever else either. It's, hey, we know where the players may be, work with NFL teams, work with colleges on a year-round basis to identify where these guys may be, and then credit to our scouting staff, a lot of film watching, a lot of analytics going in to make sure we can find the right guys as efficiently as possible. Of
this list, Eric, of the 1,000, how many would you hope to get to your game in January?
Yeah, we'll have 130 players on our roster. This list does not include third-year players, so we can have juniors at all-star games now, so I'd imagine 20, 30 of those spots might go to those players as well too. But every year we've had about 90%, or more than that, 95, 96% of our players came from this list, which means we're doing a good job in the preseason, but also, hey, if you're not on this list, you can still emerge as a guy we weren't expecting to have a breakout season as well too. So it's a good balance of good job by our scouting team, but also we're not being too narrow-minded to say, hey, if an 8th or 9th guy in North Dakota State steps up, we're going to still find that player as well this year.
I'm going to ask you maybe a question you don't know. Off the guys invited last year, how many got drafted?
Yeah. We had a record number of draft picks last year at the Shrine Bowl. In the 99 years of the event, we had the most draft picks ever a year ago. We've had a 100% increase over the last 3 years, a 25% increase for the 4th straight year. We had 57 guys drafted last year. We're aiming for 70, 75, 80 this year for our players to get drafted. And on a separate note, I think every single player from our roster last year, except for one, is currently on NFL training camp trying to earn a job there as well, too. So if not drafted, all our guys are high PFAs, getting a chance to get beat in camp.
I think I mentioned this before you came on about the enhancement of this game. I think for football observers, they knew the Senior Bowl was the big one. You guys have certainly upped it over the last couple of years. Describe the concerted effort on that to get your game into that kind of level of notoriety.
Yeah, the Shrine Bowl 25 years ago was the premier event. It was on CBS and NBC at the same time. Tom Brady, Dan Marino, all these legends played in the Shrine Bowl. And then for a while there, the game wasn't a spot, and I think done the great work to take care of players that a lot of other all-star games, one being the Senior Bowl, was kind of our competitor now, who does a great job in Mobile, Alabama. Jim Nagy's their director, does a great job. And they really took over with Phil Savage and the people that lived the Senior Bowl for a while there. And I was kind of brought in to kind of flip that back and at least give another opportunity. And my focus has been having a best-in-class event for the Shrine Bowl. And I'm very thankful that the way we've been able to have increased draft picks every year, increased NFL support every year, is our players are really taken care of. No all-star game ever has had our players get more sleep, recovery resources. We're at NFL facilities all week long for our players. Super important for them to be at their best. NFL clubs love our interview process. They get more time with these players at the Shrine Bowl than they will at other all-star games or the Combine or anywhere else too. So My focus has been a little bit, if you build it, they will come,
Yeah.
and taking care of players, agents, media, NFL clubs, and thankfully that's paid dividends the last couple of years.
How much has word of mouth helped as well? You guys say they had a great experience. Go to this game.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think the cool part on my end is that I think, and I credit our staff and our operations staff does such a good job that our players want to do that without us even asking, right? Hey, I can't believe I didn't realize this was this special of an event, whether it's the event itself, the opportunity, working with our patients at Shriners Children's and getting a chance to see what their impact in football can really do for the community and for the country, and patients such as them too. It really is a powerful moment that I think I'm very thankful that I get a chance to be really close with people like Cordell and other alumni from the Shrine Bowl myself and get a chance to help these guys in their career. But no doubt the word of mouth has been a huge part of it.
All right, I want to chat some football here. You got 7 North Dakota State Bison on here. Is there one that pops? Is there one more than, okay, Gray Zabel I know has got a lot of attention. Is there one that in your mind to say this guy is a gem at the next level?
Yeah, I think the 3 NFL scouts are probably have known about and are most excited for to see kind of what they can do is one, you mentioned Gray. I think NFL teams have seen the pipeline of North Dakota State offensive linemen to the NFL the last few years, and Gray certainly stands out as a guy that can do that. He can play guard, he can play tackle, he's big enough to play tackle, maybe best at guard in the NFL, smart enough to play center. So I think that versatility is what makes Gray really appealing, and obviously the pedigree of Bison in the NFL is really important. Cole Wisniewski, he jumps out on film. Obviously, you can't watch North Dakota State game on defense and not notice him pretty quickly too. NFL teams kind of wonder, is he a safety in their scheme? Is he a linebacker in their scheme? But it's a good problem to have. Teams want that guy. It's a question of how he fits and how high he can go. And then lastly, Cam Miller, who I think has been really impressive, taking over the last almost 3 years now as the quarterback, but a dual threat guy, good athlete, can finish downfield. He's grown as a passer. And I think even in the quarterback class this year, where people think it's a down year, it's not. It's a very deep quarterback group, one of the deepest I can remember. So he'll have a chance to really emerge there. But NFL teams certainly know Cam Miller as well. Those are the 3 that jump out that have the best chance of being draft picks.
I'm looking at the graphic that you tweeted out here about the top quarterbacks by adjusted completion percentage. North Dakota State's Cam Miller is 4, and there are 2 other guys the Bison are going to see on there. Shedeur Sanders at 5 and Mark Gronowski at 7 from South Dakota State. I want to get to Gronowski in a second. Give us a little bit more on Cam Miller's pro prospects. What do you evaluate there?
Yeah, I mean, his growth is a big part of it, right? I think NFL scouts that know how to evaluate quarterbacks in really all positions, the secret of it is you look at last year's film and this year's film and you play spot the difference. And a lot of times NFL evaluators just want to see guys get better, not be perfect, but if you can get better in college, you can get a lot better in the NFL. And Cam's done a great job. His private QB coach outside North Dakota State, Tony Rasiopi, has done a fantastic job with him the last few years. He's got the arm talent and the athleticism, and that growth as a processor as well as an improviser outside the pocket really gets NFL scouts excited. So he is absolutely on NFL radar as a quarterback. I wouldn't say he's a firm draft pick. None of these guys are yet. That's how deep the quarterback class is, but he's got a definite chance to do that if he can play well this season.
I was going to say, is not necessarily a number wise. Is there a number wise, or is it just you need to see more in continued growth for him to get to that level?
I think the important thing when it comes to quarterback, especially for the head coaches and offensive coordinators who will watch film come January, February, is enough plays that are NFL-like and impressing there, right? Those RPOs or quick throws, you kind of throw those away when you're evaluating quarterbacks. But hey, when A-gap pressure comes and Cam's got to roll to his left, can he finish downfield? Or, hey, can he adjust off his first read and not be panicking in the pocket as well, too? Because people have that level of competition question mark for Cam, like all players. But I think Cam and North Dakota State play enough talented teams. They'll play more this year as well, too, that they can kind of push that aside if he can show those NFL-level plays this year.
I'm interested. The Bison QB, what's the right word? I don't know, alums, just history of it. Carson Wentz and Trey Lance have had mixed success. Easton Stick has played a bit. Does that hamper now with NFL evaluators, or is it still a bonus because NDSU's pro-style offense, in your opinion?
Yeah, you know what? It's helped. We can be hard on ourselves, right? But all 3 of those guys are still in the NFL right now, and that's hard to do. Not many programs have 3 quarterbacks currently in the NFL. Like, it's probably North Dakota State, and I guess 4 or 5 more, and that's it. So I think they put that pipeline in, and part of it's because of the mentality in the run game North Dakota State's always had in that kind of pro-style environment that, hey, these guys can manage an offense. You know, too often we think of the word game manager as a negative. It's honestly a huge positive in today's NFL. There's so much receiver talent. There's so much creativity in offensive coordinator. You want a guy to not mess up first and foremost. Like Brock Purdy's a case example. Brock Purdy played in the Shrine Bowl and know Brock well. he's got a lot of upside and talent, but he knows if I just don't make mistakes, we're going to put up a lot of points. I think all the North Dakota State quarterbacks have shown that in their career, and that's why they're still in the league. And I think for Cam, for him, it's, hey, don't turn the ball over, don't fumble, don't throw interceptions, make a few plays here or there. It's great. But NFL teams know that North Dakota State culture and offense can set guys up for success in the NFL, starter or not. It's still really important.
Eric Galko joining us from the Shrine Bowl for a few more minutes. Solon, Iowa is represented twice over, not just with Cam Miller, but Adam Bach, his high school teammate at South Dakota State. There are 4 Jackrabbits. I want to get to Mark Gronowski in a minute, but Bach has been a all-conference linebacker the last couple of years. How does he project at the next level?
Yeah, he's got a real chance to be a draft pick, and that defense has been kind of underappreciated. Last year, the offense was the star of the show with Mason McCormick and Garrett Greenfield, Zach Hines, the Yankees, obviously Gronowski, who's still back as well, too. But that defense has done a masterful job. I think Bach has versatility to play inside and out. Isaiah Stallber last year for them was more of a versatile safety linebacker hybrid. Bach could do a bit more than that, too, but certainly has a chance to be an NFL player himself.
I'm interested for the NFL evaluators like yourself, Gronowski's decision to go back to South Dakota State, does that help or hurt his NFL chances in your mind?
I love it. I had a thread on Twitter where I'm trying to slowly push that narrative out there. But I think this narrative of guys needing to transfer up or go to bigger schools, if you want to go there for other reasons other than the NFL, absolutely, you should have that flexibility to do so. But the idea that NFL scouts won't be able to evaluate you sufficiently at a smaller school is wrong. And actually, I talked to Mark just a few weeks ago at Manning Pass Academy about his decision. And he had kind of said, hey, if I was going to go to a national title contender, I would have really considered it. But I'm already at one right now at South Dakota State, and I know the culture here. And I think too often players want to go for level of competition, but staying in your comfort zone, that's what makes great NFL players. Mason McCormick grew as an offensive lineman at South Dakota State, and he felt so comfortable in that offense that he can dominate each and every play. So I think for Gronowski, it's going to help him be successful this year, and we're really excited about seeing what he does this year. And that game versus the 2 Dakota States is going to be a fun one to watch this year. But number 2, he can focus on other aspects of getting better as a pro instead of trying to learn a new scheme, new receivers, new offense, new culture, new class schedule, right? He can be really at home at South Dakota State and really master what he's already good at.
The games against the FBS, like Cam against Colorado, Gronowski against Oklahoma State, how much more are those weighted, Eric, as opposed to the other 10, 11 on the schedule?
Yeah, and in my opinion, they shouldn't be weighted too much because they also play great players at the FCS level.
Yeah.
But I think for NFL clubs, that's the one. And I think it's less about the stats you put up. It's more about how you handle that environment, that pressure, right? South Dakota State, North Dakota, they have those games circled on their calendar for months. So when you show up there, if you're a quarterback especially, and you're turning the ball over early, or you're throwing passes in the dirt against pressure in the first quarter, scouts are going to recognize that, like, okay, this guy can't handle the pressure. Versus vice versa, you may have 3 interceptions, but if you're still making plays on third down or making plays in the red zone, scouts love that as well, too. So it's less about, I think, the level of talent you're going against, because that's, I think, overrated at this point. I think it's more about hey, this is a big game, and how can you play well? I think that game against Colorado will be as important as against South Dakota State in the season as well.
Gronowski's NFL pluses. What stand out to you about what he can do at the next level?
Biceps are huge. And no, but he's got the arm talent to do it. I think he's got the mobility, and he's really confident outside the pockets. What I care about in quarterbacks, a lot NFL teams care a lot about too. When the play breaks down, which isn't too often for that South Dakota State offensive line, he's able to make plays and be a confident runner, passer, pass the ball off pretty quickly as well too. But I think the velocity is really there. He can really uncork it. Saw it at Manning camp outside the offense, that he can really drive the ball downfield, hit those deep dig routes and post routes, NFL levels too. And then last but not least, he's super smart. He knows the game of football. He's incredibly confident. He's thoughtful in how he prepares for games, how he prepares for the offseason. He's gotten so much better every single offseason at South Dakota State. I saw it this year just a few weeks ago, again at Manning Pass Academy. He knows the method to be a pro, and he reminds me a lot of guys like Brock Purdy who know the little things that are really important to be successful in the NFL.
How much football do you watch? Like, just on average, like what are we talking every during the season? How many games you watch in a weekend?
I will say it's a lot, but we have a great staff and a great scouting team. We've had 10 of our scouts go on to NFL jobs in the last 3-4 years. We've got great NFL consultants as well too. So it's a mix of me, can't help myself watching guys. I watch the quarterback especially closely because that one's on me.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of great scouts in our team, and we meet 2-3 times a week to talk about it too. So we have to get through a lot of players. And I always tell, even clubs, hey, you guys got until April to make your decisions. I got to invite players by October. So we got to be right with far less data and far quicker. So we work really hard the first couple months of the season to get ready.
That was my next question. So I know Jalen Sundell, when you guys came up here for him, that was early in the season, like late September, early October. What's the, I guess, decision day when you have to have your invites out?
Yeah, we'll invite players. Players will receive their invites usually sometime in late October, early November.
Okay.
It really goes by the school. We want to make sure the school can feel comfortable in the season, not disrupt their season. Try to work around mid-year bye weeks as well too. But usually late October, early November. That's when we have enough information to make those decisions. And like last year, we'll have some on-campus stuff to really celebrate these players as well in season.
I was going to say the Bison bye week is November 9th. So if you want to come out, Fargo's not great in November, but if you want to come. There you go. There's the windows for you.
If that's an open invite, I'll take it. I'll be there November 9th, and we'll hang out a little bit, right?
All right, that sounds like a plan. My last question: moving to AT&T Stadium. You've been in Vegas. How big? Why was it important to go to Arlington and go to the home of the Cowboys?
We were in Frisco a year ago and played everything at the Star in Frisco, which is a beautiful venue. They play all the high school championship games there as well. We'll be there again this year as well too. But it's our 100th year of an event. The Shrine Bowl has been going on for this will be the 100th year as an event. Incredible history from people that played in the game, from presidents to Tom Brady played in the Shrine Bowl for the last 100 years. We thought this year, hey, doing it big, having an AT&T Stadium, the best stadium in the NFL, probably the entire country among all college stadiums too. That was a really good representative of what the game's all about and what the 100 years has meant to this event.
This was great, bud. If we can do this again once football season gets going, I think our viewers and listeners would really appreciate it. Thanks so much for the time. Be well, and we'll talk again soon, okay?
Can't wait. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Eric Galko, the Shrine Bowl Director of Football Ops, the man who's sending out all the invites, and we're doing that over the next few months. And you heard the complete breakdown there. It was great stuff on Cam Miller, Mark Gradowski, Gray Zabel, Cole Wisniewski, and their NFL potential. All those guys getting ready to start a new football season next week. Way overdue for a break. We'll get caught up here in a couple minutes. Left Turn Thursdays ahead. We roll on Hot Mic. We're back right after this.